My name's Evan, I'm 28, and up until a few months ago, I genuinely believed that my family, dysfunctional as they are, would never actively mess me over. Passive-aggressive texts, favoritism, guilt trips about not calling enough? Sure, but financial betrayal? Identity theft? That never even crossed my mind. I guess I still had some illusions about what family meant, even after everything I'd been through with them. Growing up, I was always the responsible one. Not the favorite, not the golden child, just the one who didn't cause problems. While my younger brother, Josh, racked up traffic tickets and switched college majors like socks, I kept my head down. I moved out at 19, worked full-time through college, paid off my used car in cash, and built my credit score like it was my lifeline. I never asked my parents for help. Not once. And to be honest, a small part of me hoped they'd notice that. That maybe, one day, I'd get a "we're proud of you" moment of my own. But in our house, Josh was the sun, and the rest of us just orbited around him. The whole thing started at his graduation party. It was a massive backyard setup with fairy lights, catered food, a speaker system loud enough to scare the neighbors, and a photo booth manned by a professional photographer. I showed up late, partially because I had work, partially because I dreaded being back in that house. My dad was already a few drinks in, his voice booming over the music as he raised a glass for the toast. "To my boy Josh," he said, swaying slightly. "Nothing's too expensive for my son. That's why I took out a loan in Evan's name." Everyone laughed. My mom chuckled and patted my arm. Josh was already 3 drinks deep, red-faced and beaming, soaking up the attention. I gave a forced smile, that tight, polite kind you practice at work when a customer says something weird. I assumed it was a joke, an awful one, sure, but just a joke. But something about the way my dad grinned at me, it was off. It lingered too long, too proud, like he'd actually done something clever. That night, lying in bed with my phone charger barely reaching the outlet, I couldn't shake it. So I did what I'd never thought I'd need to do. I pulled up my credit report. It loaded slowly, like the universe was preparing me. When it finally did, I blinked. Then I sat up straight. Then I stood. There it was, a $26,000 personal loan opened 5 months ago with a cosigner listed as my father. The payments had been irregular. 1 month on time, 2 skipped. And the most recent statement showed a 30-day delinquency. I didn't sleep that night. I just paced. The betrayal was thick, sticky, like something I couldn't scrub off my skin. I thought about calling them, texting, maybe even showing up at the house, but my hands were shaking. I didn't want explanations. I wanted answers, and I wanted proof. So the next morning, I walked into the bank listed on the loan account. I still had the email from my credit report open on my phone, like a fresh wound. The banker, a woman in her early 40s with the kind of tight smile people wear when they smell conflict coming, asked for ID and proof of address. Then she pulled up the account and went still. "You didn't apply for this loan?" she asked, already knowing the answer. "No," I said, steady but cold. "But I want the full application. Copies of the documents. Signatures. Everything." She hesitated, maybe trying to decide if I was about to explode, but eventually nodded and disappeared into the back. When she returned, she placed a manila folder in front of me. Inside were scan-outs of my driver's license and social security number, my name signed in shaky cursive that didn't even try to mimic my real signature, and a utility bill that looked doctored. The handwriting on the signature line? Definitely not mine. But the co-signers? That was my dad's handwriting. I'd seen it on every birthday card and school permission slip growing up. The rest of the day passed in a blur. I called the credit bureau. I called a lawyer. I sat in my car in the parking lot, staring at nothing while my coffee went cold in the cup holder. Then my phone buzzed. Group chat. Fam bam. Dad texted, "LOL, Evan, don't be so serious. It was a joke. Josh needed help." "What's family for?" Mom texted, "Don't overreact. You know your father meant well." Josh texted, "Dude, chill. It's not like you were using your credit anyway." I stared at the screen. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. Then I put the phone face down and walked back into the bank. My lawyer had said the first step was filing a fraud claim. The banker helped me start it, and I officially submitted a report stating the loan was unauthorized. It triggered an automatic freeze on the account and flagged the cosigner for investigation. The next morning was pure chaos. 47 texts, 9 missed calls, 3 voicemails from my mother's crying voice, all variations of "don't ruin this family," and a final text from Josh. "You're really gonna mess over your own brother?" That was the moment something inside me hardened. I wasn't just angry, I was done. Done pretending to be the reasonable one. Done absorbing their garbage like I was made of rubber. For years, I'd swallowed it all. The favoritism, the gaslighting, the guilt trips. But this wasn't just emotional damage. This was criminal. They hadn't just crossed a line. They'd torched it and danced on the ashes. I called the police, filed a formal report, sent over the loan documents, including the fake signature and forged utility bill. Then I went to my office, sat at my desk like it was any other Tuesday, and let the group chat stew in silence. And that's when the real fallout began. By Wednesday, the panic had evolved into desperation. The tone of the text shifted from smug dismissal to outright fear. My mom sent me a picture of a handwritten letter, supposedly from my dad, apologizing for the misunderstanding, as if that word could somehow encompass identity theft and financial fraud. The letter tried to frame it as a simple accident. I meant to apply in my own name, but the paperwork got mixed up. Like my social security number accidentally wandered onto a loan application by itself. I didn't respond. Not yet. I needed to see how deep this went. My lawyer, Michelle, called that afternoon. Sharp, no nonsense, and blessedly unaffected by my family's fake sincerity, she'd already started digging. She told me the fraud investigation could take weeks, but from what we had already, there was a strong case for both criminal charges and a civil suit. You realize this could end with your dad getting jail time, right? She asked, gently. I didn't hesitate. Yeah, I know. And that was the truth. I'd loved my dad once. I probably still did, in some frayed, tattered corner of my heart. But what he did went beyond a mistake. He looked at me, not Josh, not some stranger, me, and decided that my future, my financial stability, was disposable. Just a convenient sacrifice to help his favorite son get ahead. The more I thought about it, the more pieces started to fall into place. Why my dad kept asking if I had any loans open, why he was weirdly interested in my move last year, when I had to update my mailing address. He must have waited until I submitted a change of address, then had the loan documents mailed to my old place, my parents' house, so I'd never see them. I started replaying memories from the last year with new eyes. The way Josh had been bragging about the new car he got a deal on. How my dad had casually mentioned helping Josh get back on his feet after his fourth attempt at community college didn't pan out. And how no one in the family blinked when Josh showed up with a new MacBook and the latest iPhone, while I was still using a 6-year-old Android with a cracked screen. The bank confirmed the money had been wired directly into Josh's account. That night, I finally picked up when my mom called. I didn't say anything at first, just let her talk. Evan, honey, I know you're upset, but this is tearing us apart. Your father was just trying to help Josh. You know he's been struggling, and we didn't think it would hurt you. You weren't using your credit, were you? That sentence, you weren't using your credit. It hit me like a punch. To them, I was just a vault. An extra bank account with legs and a conscience. Not a person. Not someone who had earned that good credit score through years of sacrifice, budgeting, and refusing to let myself sink. Just a tool. I wasn't using it, I said slowly. But I planned to. She was silent, probably trying to calculate if I meant that literally or metaphorically. I continued. I was pre-approved for a mortgage 3 months ago. I've been saving for a down payment. I found a small house near the lake. 2 bedrooms. One for me, one for... I stopped myself. I hadn't told anyone yet. Not even them. But I was going to propose to Maya this fall. I'd already picked out the ring. The house was part of the plan. Our future. Mom exhaled sharply, like she'd been slapped. Oh, I didn't know. Of course not. No one asks about my life unless they need something. She tried to say something, but I hung up. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cry. I didn't even feel angry anymore. Just cold. The next few days blurred. Michelle filed additional paperwork. I submitted the fraud affidavit to all 3 credit bureaus. The police followed up to take my statement. And then silence. My family didn't call. The group chat went dark. No texts, no voicemails, no passive-aggressive memes from my aunt about forgiving family. It felt eerie, like the calm before a storm. And sure enough, it didn't last. That Saturday, I got a knock at my door. When I opened it, my dad was standing there, looking haggard. He wasn't his usual blustering self. His shoulders were hunched, eyes sunken, voice quiet. "Can we talk?" he asked. I stepped outside, closing the door behind me. I didn't invite him in. "I know I messed up," he began, hands shaking. "But you're my son. I never meant to hurt you." I stayed silent. He went on, spinning a sob story about how Josh was depressed, how the family was falling apart, how he thought this would just be temporary, that he'd pay it off before I noticed. He even had the nerve to say, "I thought maybe you'd understand. You've always been the strong one." That line broke something in me. "The strong one," I repeated, almost laughing. "You mean the one you thought wouldn't fight back?" He flinched. I crossed my arms. "You didn't ask me. You didn't even warn me. You used my name like it was a spare set of keys. And now I can't even qualify for a mortgage because your golden boy wanted a car and a new laptop." His expression twisted, like he was about to say something cruel, but then he looked down. "I'll fix it," he muttered. "I'll talk to the bank. Maybe if you drop the charges." I cut him off. "You think this ends with a conversation? I filed a police report. There's an open fraud case. You committed a felony, Dad. This isn't just family drama anymore. It's criminal." He stared at me like I was a stranger. Then, quietly, almost with disgust, he said, "You'd really send your own father to jail?" And I stared right back. "You already sent me there," I said. "You just didn't hear the door slam." He left without another word. And that would have been the end of it, except 2 days later, I got a text from my cousin Kelsey. She sent me a screenshot of a post on Facebook from my mom. It was one of those long, vague, emotional guilt trip posts. No names, of course, but all about how some children don't understand sacrifice and how family isn't about money. The comments were full of clapping emojis and people saying things like, "You're such a strong mother," and "Kids today don't appreciate what their parents go through." That's when I realized they still didn't think they did anything wrong. To them, I was the villain, the selfish one, the disloyal one, the ungrateful child. And that's when I decided I wasn't just going to protect myself. I was going to make sure they never did this to anyone else again. I didn't respond to the Facebook post. I didn't comment, I didn't message my mom, and I definitely didn't engage with the cloying fake sympathy rolling in from her church friends and ex-coworkers. But I did take screenshots. Every paragraph dripping with martyrdom, every half-baked comment defending parental sacrifice. I saved them all, not because I planned to use them right away, but because I knew how people like my parents operated. They lied with confidence, rewrote history with just enough vagueness to make anyone else look like the bad guy. I wasn't going to argue with their version of the story. I was going to replace it. The real tipping point came later that week, when I got a call from a woman named Dana. She worked at a local credit union, not the same one where my dad took out the loan. She introduced herself cautiously, said she was following up on a pending auto loan application, and needed to verify some employment details. I was confused at first. I hadn't applied for anything. "What's the applicant's name?" I asked. "Joshua Matthews." But the co-applicant listed is Evan Matthews. My chest went ice cold. They were still trying to use me. I asked for the exact date the application was filed. It was 3 days ago, after I'd already reported the fraud, after I'd already confronted them. They knew I was pressing charges, and they still tried to sneak in another application under my name. Dana apologized profusely, sent me a copy of the request, and immediately flagged the loan. But I sat at my desk in silence for 10 straight minutes. This wasn't just a bad decision. It wasn't a desperate moment of poor judgment. It was intentional, and it wasn't over. I called Michelle. "We're going scorched earth," I said. She didn't flinch. "Okay." Then we build a case. Every document, every attempt. I'll get subpoenas out for bank activity, application timestamps, digital signatures. If there's a paper trail, we'll find it. And we did. Over the next 2 weeks, we found 3 separate attempts to use my name on loan applications. 2 personal, 1 auto. One of them had even used a Gmail address I'd never seen before, evan.matthews.home@gmail.com, which my dad had clearly made to impersonate me. It was like watching a psychological horror movie in slow motion. I started looking at my family like strangers. Because what kind of parent plans this? Not just a one-time mistake, but a calculated scheme over months, using their own child's name as a credit card? And what kind of sibling goes along with it, knowing full well it was your name on the dotted line? Every memory I had with them started to sour. The road trips when I was a kid, my dad singing out of tune in the front seat. The family dinners where Josh always got seconds before anyone else. The day my mom cried when I got into college and told me, "We don't have much, but we're proud of you." Lies. All of it. The police moved faster than I expected. Maybe it was the multiple applications. Maybe it was how neatly organized Michelle kept everything. Or maybe they just wanted a clean win. Whatever the reason, within a month of filing, they called to tell me my father was being formally charged with identity theft, bank fraud, and wire fraud. The moment felt surreal, like I was watching it happen to someone else. Word spread fast. My cousin called to say she'd seen my mom crying in the grocery store. My aunt sent a long text that started with, "I'm not taking sides," and ended with, "But maybe this didn't need to get so legal." Even Josh tried to reach out, left a voicemail where he sounded more annoyed than sorry, ranting about how this could ruin Dad's life, and you always act like you're better than the rest of us. I didn't call back. Instead, I focused on making sure I had everything in order: frozen credit, new passwords, two-factor authentication on every single account, even a new phone plan. I'd underestimated them once. I wasn't going to do it again. And still, the most unexpected betrayal came next. One evening, I stopped by the mailbox in my apartment building and saw an envelope with a familiar address, my parents' return label. Inside was a typed letter and signed, with a single sentence printed in bold. "You may have won the battle, but family never forgets." No greeting, no apology, no acknowledgement, just a threat. That was the moment the last thread snapped. It wasn't just about clearing my name anymore. It wasn't about credit scores or financial security. It was about making sure they could never do this to me or anyone again. They thought they could manipulate me with guilt. They thought I'd fold once the heat got turned up. They thought being family meant they were untouchable. But they'd forgotten one thing. I wasn't the scared, compliant kid anymore. And I still had one more card to play. I read that sentence over and over again. "You may have won the battle, but family never forgets." It was typed and signed, printed like some kind of movie villain threat. No apology, no attempt to explain, just bitterness, entitlement, arrogance. And suddenly I realized they still thought they had some kind of power over me. Even now, even after the police charges, after the frozen credit, after getting caught forging my signature 3 different times. They thought the word family still held leverage. But to me, that word didn't mean what it used to. It didn't mean love or support or history anymore. It meant damage. It meant betrayal. And if they wanted to send threats, I could send consequences. 2 weeks later, my father was arraigned. I didn't attend the hearing in person. I didn't need to. Michelle went in my place, armed with a thick folder of evidence. The forged applications, the signature comparisons, the forged Gmail account and its IP trace, copies of the loan transfers into Josh's account, screenshots of the group chat messages and voicemails where they joked about the favor. The case was clean, tidy, devastating. My dad pled not guilty. Of course he did. But the prosecution had everything they needed. And now that it was in motion, I made the second move. I filed a civil lawsuit. My goal wasn't just to punish my father with criminal charges. I wanted to take financial control back into my own hands. The damage to my credit was real. I couldn't qualify for the mortgage anymore. My rate had skyrocketed, and the small house by the lake? Gone. Someone else had bought it while my credit report was frozen. And no, I hadn't told Maya why. Not yet. But I planned to, just as soon as I fixed it. The civil suit demanded repayment for damages, credit restoration costs, and emotional distress. Michelle warned me the family would try to settle quietly. She was right. Within days of being served, my mom reached out. "We can pay part of it," she offered over the phone, her voice tight. "If you just drop the lawsuit. We don't want this to go public." I almost laughed. Now they were worried about it going public? "Pay all of it," I said, "or it goes to trial." She tried bargaining, pleading, even cried. Told me Josh was on probation at work and couldn't afford to have a scandal right now. That my dad was having chest pains. That the stress was tearing the family apart. And when none of that worked, she went back to guilt. "You're really going to destroy your own family over money?" That line was so familiar. I'd heard variations of it my whole life. Whenever I set boundaries, whenever I said no, whenever I refused to be walked over. But this time, I didn't flinch. "You already destroyed this family," I said, "the second you decided I was just a tool." Then I hung up. The civil suit moved forward. To avoid court, they liquidated a few assets. My dad's truck, my mom's investment jewelry. They sold some furniture, took out a legitimate loan, in their names this time, and they wired the full amount. I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat. I just forwarded the confirmation to Michelle and closed the file. The money wasn't a gift. It was restitution. Payment for what they stole, not just from my finances, but from my future. And then came the final step. I cut them off. No more texts. No more calls. No more pretending. I blocked every number, left the family group chat, moved apartments, got a new number, and made sure they couldn't reach me through anyone else. I didn't leave a dramatic voicemail or write some final speech. I didn't need to. They knew why. They just didn't want to accept it. For a while, I still got mail forwarded from my old place. Birthday cards with "Love Always" written in my mother's slanted handwriting. Christmas photos with Josh's new dog, probably bought with the laptop refund money they finally returned. One letter from my dad with no return address that just said, "I did what I had to do. You'll understand someday." No, I won't. I shredded every letter. I didn't tell Maya the whole story until months later. We were sitting on the floor of our new apartment, surrounded by moving boxes and pizza boxes, and she asked me if I'd ever introduce her to my parents. I told her everything. She didn't interrupt. She didn't look shocked. She just squeezed my hand and said, "You protected yourself. That's not something you should feel ashamed of. That's something you should be proud of." And for the first time since this all started, I actually let myself believe her. People always say blood is thicker than water, but what they forget is that saying comes from a longer phrase. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, which means the relationships you choose are stronger than the ones you're born into. And I finally understood that. My family didn't protect me. They used me, lied to me, stole from me, but I survived. I held them accountable. I reclaimed my name, and I walked away. Now, I live a life where every decision is mine. My finances are clean. My future is mine to rebuild. And if they ever try to contact me again, they'll find I no longer exist in their world. And they certainly don't exist in mine.